What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on where you are on the planet. This is an image that white geocolonialists, um, um, international energy conglomerates, white governments, i.e., Europe, the United States, etc. This is an image that terrifies them. Because on the left, you have the Honorable Thomas Sankara, who sadly was murdered by these white devils in October of 1987. Think about what you were doing in 1987. Just think about what you were doing in 1987. I was in college. Thomas Sankara is on the left, Rahimahullah. And on the right, you have his reincarnation. Both of these men are from Burkina Faso. On the right is Captain Ibrahim Traore. And like Thomas Sankara, Ibrahim Traore is a very young leader. In fact, he's the youngest leader on planet Earth. That's not a joke. He is the youngest leader of any nation anywhere on Earth, period. And I believe that he is 33, 32, or he between 32 and 34 years old. I never can get it right. But they murdered Thomas Sankara because he had a heart of righteousness. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he was sick and tired of understanding that his nation was wealthy, yet his people lived in poverty and were poor. Today, they still want to describe Burkina Faso as one of the poorest nations on earth. Well, number one, let me say to my African brothers and sisters who are on the continent of Africa, don't you ever tolerate, don't ever tolerate even hearing someone, least of all somebody white, describing whatever country you live in. Don't ever tolerate anyone saying that you live in a poor nation. There are no poor nations in Africa. There are only exploited nations in Africa. How is it that the Democratic Republic of Congo, the richest country on earth, I could make the case and prosecute, how is it that the people there are living in poverty when trillions of dollars of its finest resources go straight out the door to serve white countries? So let us always remember Thomas Sankara, and let us hail and pray for, support, and hold up Captain Ibrahim Traore. We are sick and tired of these international conglomerates made up of billionaires always speaking about any African country with some sympathy, as if they need aid and help. And that usually comes with Christian vomit, because they usually want to bring you in the Christian missionaries. In fact, as I've said to you over the years, they even have a policy that if you don't allow, there are some countries at least, because I don't know if it's all of them, but I know there are some, that they won't allow you to have any foreign aid if you don't allow in the Christian missionaries so they can spread their vomit. Do you understand? They don't want that. It's interesting that in all of the hoopla that's going on with the American election of their next president, there was a complete shutout of Palestinian voices. They wanted to talk about joy. Joy cometh in the morning, said Hakeem Jeffries, who makes me vomit when I hear his name or I say it. There was Oprah. And they rolled out Jesse Jackson. They literally rolled him out. And there was James Clyburn. And there was every celebrity you could name. And there was all these people. But they did not show you that there was thousands of people in the streets of Chicago protesting on behalf of the people of
Free
Gaza.
Palestine! Free 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 Palestine! Long live 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 Palestine! Palestine! Long live Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Yes. Back to front. Move!
Who are still being murdered and genocided off as I speak to you. At some point, you're past self-defense. And I proclaim that Israel is past self-defense, which was never their goal anyway. Their goal has always been genocide and murder, going back to the 1920s even. They use this sacred 7th October as their reasoning. You see, we must not accept this. We must not. And their greatest nightmare is gentlemen like these two, or any African leader who says, no, we have the leverage, we have the resources, you will pay us through your ass for what you want from us if we decide to sell to you. And it will be enough for you, maybe just to survive, but definitely not to get rich on our resource. I've got several pieces that I want to present to you today. And it's always something with these people. They never stop plotting their evil and their vile. This is from a day ago. Burkina Faso takes over 2 gold mines. And by the way, they continue to find even more gold in Burkina Faso. That's not the only thing that they have. They also have uranium, which Paris, France uses to steel to light up their Eiffel Towers and to power their Olympics and their country and all of it, while many of our people in just Burkina Faso alone are in darkness. We must be over this. We must be over this. And many of our brothers and sisters on the continent are understanding that they're going to have to take and give blood in order to defend what is rightly ours. That you're going to have to meet this devil on his level. And they never come with peace and pure intent. So you must be ready to fight fire with fire. And know that you will be victorious. Because anytime you fight on the side of righteousness, the owner of existence will always make you victorious. Always know that. Let's hear this short report.
In a landmark move that signals Burkina Faso's commitment to assert greater control over its natural resources, the Burkinabe government has successfully negotiated agreements with Lilium Mining and Endeavour Mining, ending a protracted dispute and securing the ownership of 2 of the country's most significant gold mines, Boungou and Wagnian. The agreements, signed on Monday, August 26, 2024, by the Minister of Economy and Finance alongside representatives from both mining companies, mark a pivotal moment in Burkina Faso's broader strategy to harness its mineral wealth for the benefit of its citizens. This development is not just about resolving a corporate conflict, but is part of a larger, more ambitious plan to ensure that the country's vast mineral resources are managed in a way that directly contributes to national development and economic sovereignty.
See?
The first part of the agreement involves 3 critical contracts between the Burkinabe state and Endeavour Mining. These include a royalty agreement, which sets the terms for the payment of royalties to the state, a significant revenue stream that will now directly bolster the national economy, a transactional agreement, which formalizes the transfer of ownership and resolves any lingering legal disputes between the state and Endeavour Mining, and a payment agreement, which details the financial terms, including the $60 million payment that the Burkinabe government has committed to make, plus additional royalties on a projected production of 400,000 ounces, bringing the total to approximately $90 million. This shift is part of a broader vision to ensure that the wealth generated from Burkina Faso's rich mineral deposits is used to improve the lives of its citizens, rather than merely filling the coffers of foreign companies. The Burkinabe state has decided to get involved in the management of its natural resources, Dr. Nakanabo stated.
Pour faire en sorte que la continuité de l'exploitation puisse être assurée et naturellement cela va permettre à l'État de renforcer ses capacités en termes de gestion des ressources naturelles.
This acquisition of the Boungou and Wagnian mines will significantly enhance our capacity to manage our resources effectively. We are not only looking at these 2 mines, but are also planning to exploit other mining opportunities to further strengthen our financial situation and ensure that the benefits of our natural resources are felt by our people. One of the most critical aspects of this acquisition is its potential impact on job security and economic stability in Burkina Faso.
Et ce n'est qu'un début parce que l'État va encore travailler à exploiter d'autres mines.
Nakanabo reassured the workers of the Boungou and Wagnian mines that the state is committed to maintaining jobs and ensuring the continued operation of these mines. This commitment is particularly significant in a country where the mining sector is a major employer and a critical source of income for many families. The acquisition of the Boungou and Wagnian mines is part of a broader push by the Burkinabe government to take control of its mineral resources. This move aligns with a growing trend across Africa, where governments are increasingly asserting their rights over natural resources to ensure that the benefits of mining and other extractive industries are more equitably distributed among their populations. In recent years, Burkina Faso has intensified its efforts to reform its mining sector, focusing on improving transparency, increasing state participation in mining ventures, and ensuring that local communities benefit from the exploitation of natural resources. The agreements signed on August 26th are a testament to these efforts and a clear indication of the government's resolve to prioritize the welfare of its citizens over the interests of foreign corporations. As Burkina Faso continues to navigate the complexities of resource management, the successful acquisition of the Bungu and Wagnian mines represents a significant victory for the country. It marks the beginning of a new era where the state takes a more prominent role in ensuring that the nation's mineral wealth contributes to sustainable development and the well-being of its people. With these agreements, Burkina Faso is not only securing its economic future, but also setting a precedent for how African nations can assert their sovereignty over natural resources, paving the way for a more just and prosperous continent.
Now, this was also one of the main reasons why you had several months ago when, and it's here on the channel, when you had the white devil, Macron from France. I just lost a tooth. They were all up in arms and they called on ECOWAS. The ECOWAS is an acronym standing for the ECOWAS, economic something of West African states. But they're all nothing but suck booties and sellouts for this demon. They literally were threatening Burkina Faso and Niger and Mali because they dared to take the puppets who had been installed, snatch them up, and sent them packing. Then they threw out the French army and said, "Get out. We don't want you here anymore. You're nothing but thieves. And we are sick and tired of our people living in squalor. Sick and tired." Oh, it sent shock waves across the earth. Because what these multinational companies understand is that it is African people who hold the power on earth for all the technology, all of the innovative anything that's going to be coming down the pike. None of it happens without Africa. And they want to make sure that their white asses have control over everything. They throw a few dollars at some puppet African leader who can't wait to grin in their face and shake their hand. And he's a millionaire, driving his Toyota. They're obsessed with Toyotas, dude. They're obsessed with Toyota. Don't ask me why. And there they are with their little motorcades and all of it. And they want to feel important while they literally drive through the streets where their people are living in squalor. A new day has come. A new day has come. Now, these are in no certain order because I also want to show you some of the lies that they will tell, because I always tell you if they're breathing, they're lying. If they have a pulse, they are lying. So they always want to give you some sympathy about child labor and, oh my God, look what they're doing to the children. And they want you to think that it's terrorists that are taking the resources and controlling the mines where the resources and things are. And none of it is true. None of it is true. Do you understand? Now, now, here is a piece from actually 11 years ago, but it's relevant now. You see, it says a child's work day in Burkina Faso gold mine. You see? Hear this now. Kareem Sawadogo works in a small artisanal, this is a key word, artisanal, they always give you that, gold mine in Fofora in southwest Burkina Faso. He's unsure of his age, but thinks he is 9 years old. This is the sympathy play, you see, when it's multinational. Because when you hear this artisanal thing, everybody, it's families, it's groups of people saying, we going down there and get us some of this stuff. And we'll sell it to individuals who are willing to buy from us as individuals. We see this even in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they go down and they are literally risking their lives because the coltan that comes out of the Congo is radioactive. You should see the birth defects that on the children and the babies that the women are carrying. They literally are pulling it out of the earth with their hands, and they try to get as much as they can each day, and they take it to some demon who then underpays them for what they've gathered. It's right back to sharecropping, when they used to get our labor for free. And then when sharecropping was put in place, because they couldn't get their white ass out there and pick cotton, so you take your black ass out there and continue to pick the cotton, and we'll share the profit, said the demons. So let's say you come with $100 worth of cotton that you've slaved from sun up to sundown, and they give you maybe $2 or something ridiculous, you know. It's the same devil doing the same thing because they are born evil. Do you understand? Let's go on.
Mtoka Bondo ba. Ba. Na yalo come catrero.
Kareem works 12-hour days in the mine, performing menial tasks with others his age. Though a translator, or through a translator, he describes his typical workday. And I've already taught you we're suspicious of translators, because if the translator is not of the same culture as the person that is speaking, I immediately don't want to hear it. Don't give me some British bitch translating for like some young African child. You understand? As someone who speaks Arabic and Spanish, I can tell you, and I've shown this to you before, where it's the normal rhythm of especially American media, which influences the media across the earth, but it's inherent, it's a part of their rhythm, where they will say, and we spoke to Maria such and such, and then you start hearing Maria speak in Spanish. They give you maybe 15-20 seconds of her, then in comes the translator. And I know that what Maria just said is not what the bitch that's translating is telling me. I know that. I know that. That's how I taught myself this. I also noticed that when they speak to someone who is speaking Arabic or Farsi or Urdu or something like this, Muslims usually can never speak without invoking the name of Allah in some sort of way. If anyone who listens to me, notice I'm always invoking the name of Allah. Inshallah, mashallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, whatever. And they never put that in. They never put that in. So how am I supposed to believe you, you fork-tongued demon? I don't. I don't. I don't. But let's go on. So through a translator, he describes his typical day. Go.
Susan Butoka.
Probably actually around 6. When he wake up early in the morning, he start cooking.
Okay, at least this is an African translator saying when he wakes up in the morning, he starts cooking, or we start cooking. And by the way, this is not uncommon. I would say most, if not all, but many African males know how to cook. It's a part of what they do. They know how to cook. They know. From even young boys. When I was in Gambia, I told you guys, and there's a live stream here on the channel where I'm at one of my brother's compounds. Samba and I had gone to visit our brother Dauda, Rahimahullah, and to just sit and relax with our brother. And normally we will have what is known as a tie. It's in like these small, it's bigger than a shot glass, but it's not big enough to be a teacup or something really. Anyways, they have a special way they brew this tea. It's very sweet, and then they pour it from one glass to the other, waterfalling it, and then they switch and waterfall it till it becomes very frothy and really brewed up. It's very delicious, and why I mention it is because one day at Samba's, there was literally these two little boys that were out on the porch. They couldn't have been older than 7 or 8, and there they were brewing a Thai and serving me a Thai. You see, it's not uncommon, but let's go on.
When he finished cooking, of course,
When we finish cooking, we start carrying the sand out of the pit.
we start, how to say, carrying the sand out of the pit.
I'm laughing.
And after that, we take rest. And when we finish taking rest, of course, we start again in the afternoon doing the same job.
And they want you to think, oh my God, they have these young kids out there. Listen, when I was in Senegal, when I was in Gambia, and when I've seen other countries without even being there, I can tell you that children work. They don't have this, ooh, kids are too young, they can't. They start working from a very young, because why not? That's how you build motivated adults. I'd walk into a shop or a store. It's like a 3-year-old back there serving me. He's running the place. Okay, he's not 3, but he might as well be. He's not 16. He may be 10 or 11, but he's running that store efficiently. That's the person who's running it. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon at all. Meanwhile, our kids are wasting their time away. Well, they too young to do stuff right now. So you're just creating a vegetable that you want to somehow suddenly one day wake up and become brilliant and know how to do anything in life. There was one day we were, Samba and I were at our brother Usman's compound. And was it Uthman or Suleiman? But anyway, Samba's back passenger tire had a leak and kept going low and flat on us. There was a kid, he was between 7 and 9, and there he was changing the tire. I wish I had filmed that. And it was nothing. It wasn't like, ooh, like it was nothing. You see? Let's hear the rest of this. These lies and deception.
They spend the night here, they sleep here.
Ang kami yung wari.
His dream is to get money, to make plenty money.
Oops, sorry, y'all. His dream is to get money, to make plenty of money. But this is what you get when you have, and again, this is 11 years ago, so obviously Captain Ibrahim Traore was not in place at the time. But this is what you get when you have countries that don't run their own natural resources and mine their own stuff. You understand? Where it's organized labor and all these sorts of things. What they won't show you is the areas where the multinational companies are just raping the fuck out of the country, just raping it out, just raping the shit and taking it out. Even in Ghana, there was not too long back. They literally threw the Chinese out because they were sneaking into the country under the cover of night in parts of the country and just stealing resources out of the damn Chinese. It's time for African people to put their foot down on the rest of humanity and say, not right here. Not right here. Not right here. Now, that's the end of that report. Let us move to our next piece. Now, this is from African News. And it's Burkina Faso mining sector affected by terrorism. Huh? Well, let's see what lie there is. It's time for the young people in Africa, I don't care what country you live in, it's time for you to become vigilant and militant and active. And when you see something, you must do something. You must defend righteousness for the good of your country and your people. Now, let's hear what they have to say about this terrorism. Remember, this report is from a year ago.
Welcome to Business Africa. This week we'll take a closer look at Burkina Faso's mining sector, which is threatened by terrorism. Business is at standstill in 4 mining companies, mainly due to insecurity. Several others are experiencing supply issues. Lame hosted the second edition of the Africa Financial Industry Summit. The meeting aims to propose concrete solutions to the establishment of a robust financial industry in order to facilitate the continent's growth. Finally, we'll head to Tabaka, in the village located a few kilometers from the capital Nairobi. Soapstone has been mined for generations. However, in recent months, the absence of tourists has badly impacted the town's small industries. Each year, the mining sector in Burkina Faso used to contribute significantly to the economy of the West African country.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. That's been part of the problem. She just said that it's mining. Let's hear the lie again.
Sector in Burkina Faso
Wait.
Of tourists has badly impacted the town's small industries. Each year, the mining sector in Burkina Faso
what?
Used to contribute significantly to the economy of the West African country.
To the economy of the West African country. Really? Because we saw no evidence of that. We're seeing it now because you have Captain Ibrahim Traore, who has served notice on all of humanity to stay the fuck back. That this is all about Burkina Faso and Africa as a whole. You understand? He's dealing with Russia. He's dealing with Morocco. He's dealing with other countries who are willing to come in and to do proper business with their country. I hold the resource. I hold the leverage. You come, you kneel before me, and you show me respect. And when you leave, I must have the lion's share of the deal. That's the way it's supposed to go. Look at the Saudis. Look at the Saudis, dude. They have oil. They have oil. I don't know of anything else that they have. They have oil. And you see the menagerie that they have. It's one of the most beautiful countries you would ever want to know about, even. Do you understand? Because they understand you always see American leaders going there and literally kissing their hand in order to do business with them. And they're obviously getting the proper deal because we see how Saudi thrives. It thrives. It thrives. Let's go on.
Small industries. Each year, the mining sector in Burkina Faso used to contribute significantly to the economy of the West African country. With the increase in terrorist attacks, operations were suspended in several mines. As a result, between 2,000 to 3,000 direct jobs are endangered. So too are revenues collected by...
And those are chaos being installed by not only these multinational corporations, but also in the case of Burkina Faso, which happens to be or used to be one of the Francophone countries. It's one of the 14 countries that France still colonizes. So they have military bases until at least they threw them out of Burkina Faso and Niger and Mali. But I'm saying they install chaos so that your country can never get on its damn feet. It's just like with Haiti. Every time Haiti is almost on the cusp of realizing its true sovereignty and its individuality and its sustainability and its success, boom, this white devil causes an earthquake. They have the technology to do that, have had it for many decades. Do you understand? Let's go on.
The mining sector in Burkina Faso used to contribute significantly to the economy of the West African country. With the increase in terrorist attacks, operations were suspended in several mines. As a result, between 2,000 to 3,000 direct jobs are endangered. So too are revenues collected by the authorities.
Gold production is Burkina Faso's primary export product. Over the past 15 years, the country has become one of the top 5 gold producers in Africa.
Top 5 gold producers. But does this look like a country that is benefiting from that? Just from that shot alone? Huh? I ask you this now. Hear how they craft their language. Hear how they craft.
By the authorities.
Gold production is Burkina Faso's primary export product. Over the past 15 years, the country has become one of the top 5 gold producers in Africa, alongside such giants as Ghana, South Africa, and Mali. From about 5 tons of gold in 2008, the Sahelian nation recorded 62 tons in 2020 and 66 the year after. In the first half of 2022, the country was able to produce nearly 39,000 kilograms of gold, while it is...
But where did it go?
Significant to note that about 17 mining companies in operation contributed 16.2% of the gross domestic product (GDP) and 83.90% of export earnings in 2020. The sector's good health has been threatened in recent years by attacks from terrorist groups.
Well, that's all over now, because Ibrahim Traore does not let his guard down. And he's not driving around in fancy Toyotas and anything else. Do you understand? He's not interested in wealth. He's interested in the growth of his country and the economic rise of his people and his country. So this terrorism crap is also part of them when they had their French military bases there. You see, they just start an attack when they want. Oh, it was terrorism. It was ISIS. Oh, wait, quick! We think it was the Taliban. We don't know. Just quick, it was terrorism, run for your life. Nah, he is shutting down everything. Everything.
Since the end of last September, 4 mines have been shut down. They include those in Tapaco, Yuga, Nitiana, and Riverstone Kama. In addition, the convoy of necessary products and the personnel of the industrial mines have also been a regular target by terrorists, all of which is leading to fears of a decrease in foreign investment.
I'm joined by Priscille Zongo, Executive Director at the Burkina Faso Chamber of Mines. What's the economic impact of the closure of the 4 mines on the state's budget?
The impacts due to the cessation of activity of the mine are the loss of jobs. We have estimated that approximately 2,500 jobs will be lost. In addition to jobs, we think that the contribution to the state budget, that is the payment of taxes, well, the state may not be able to collect them this year. They are estimated at around 25 to 30 billion CFA francs.
Because they never pay the tax on the goods when they come in and steal your shit. They never pay the fees they're supposed to pay. I've done these reports in other pieces. I've done parts of this, but I'm just letting you know to fill in the blanks for you. Do you understand?
Besides, there are contracts with subcontractors, and these subcontractors will lose market shares, and all of this will result in a loss of revenue for the state budget.
What strategies can you implement to bring investors back?
In our discussions with the state, we have listed a number of initiatives that need to be carried.
Then you have the colonizer come in and say, we'll provide security for you. And then they give you some upside down deal so that they can steal the shit in your country. Because they're the ones installing the chaos. They're the ones. It's them.
Carried out to reassure investments. So first, there is the securing of mining sites, and secondly, there is the securing of supplies. The third solution is to secure the research areas of the research sites, because it is today's research that makes tomorrow's mine. And with the security situation, we have seen that research has almost disappeared. So in order to renew the mines that are currently in production, we must also act to reassure the research structures so that they can continue the research.
In your opinion, why has ONAZIM, the body in charge of security in mining environments, not operated correctly so far?
I think that we should talk about revitalizing or strengthening ONAZIM because it is already operational. But it turns out that mines in Burkina are not in only one region. The mines are almost in every region, so we need to have men to deploy them on each mining site. And the research sites are...
The mines are in almost every region. And I brought you something recently where, I mean, they're constantly finding even more resources, even more gold, even more, subhanAllah.
Also numerous. So it's not easy to have the men needed to deploy them to each site. Therefore, there is a need to be able to bring together the forces with the other expenses in order to find the necessary men.
Is it not time to improve the mining sector's industrialization for more added value?
For us, the creation of added value in Burkina Faso is an important step, and the 2015 Code has opened this path. And from 2021 and 2002, we have worked to put in place texts to be able to deal with the team of local content. And I think that the next 10 years will really be devoted to making Burkina Faso an industrial country and considering the needs of mines to produce.
And that is what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Do you understand? Also notice that these two ladies are African women speaking French. What is wrong with this picture? How are you in an entire African country where these white devils don't even live, and you're speaking their language. That alone is a scandal of the highest order, in my view.
This is how we will be able to capitalize on the benefits of the Burkina Faso mining sector.
Thank you, Madame Priscille Zongo. Dozens of experts gathered in the Togolese capital on November 28 and 29 to attend the Africa Financial Industry Summit and discuss bold strategies to make the financial industry a pillar of the African economy. Our correspondent in Togo, Serge Kofi, has more on this.
In the face of the current economic crisis, the African financial sector wants to recompose itself and move to a world-class financial industry. This is the objective of the African Financial Industry Summit. A wide range of topics were discussed, and they included green finance, insurance,
Why are there demons up there? Why is there demons sitting there? Why? Why? Why are they there? Why are they there? Why are they there?
Move to a world-class financial industry. This is the objective of the African Financial Industry Summit. A wide range of topics were discussed, and they included green finance, insurance consolidation, credit risk, financial inclusion, cryptocurrency, and the crucial issue of SME financing. 62% of SMEs in Africa do not have access to bank loans, a financing gap estimated at over $330 billion. Should we lend more even if the risk of default remain high?
No, we don't need you to lend anything. We have all the resource we need to have all the money we need. You don't need to lend me anything. Listen, if Oprah is my mother, and I may or may not have DNA right now that she is, I don't want to get into that. All right, but if Oprah is my mother, I don't need you to loan me anything. My mother is a billionaire. I don't need you to loan me anything. Kick rocks.
Many points to technology with disruptive players such as fintechs. Banks have the capacity to generate sufficient data that can allow them to measure risks without having financial statements. Scoring, for example, is based on data and analysis of these data to make lending decisions. This can be very useful for many banks and institutions in the absence of formalization of SMEs.
But what they don't tell you is that they are required to put nearly 90% of their GDP into banks in France. So you work for a month, you get your check, you have to give it to the Jedi now. For what? Just because I say so. Because I'm your colonizer. Give me your check. Give it to me now. Give it. Now, if you need any of your money, you can only borrow 20% of it. Borrow 20% of it at a high interest rate of your own damn money. And that's what these demons have been doing, not just in Niger and Burkina Faso and Mali, but they do it all over Africa, especially in the Francophone countries, claiming that they still owe debt. Oh my God, it makes me pull my hair out one strand at a time. Do you understand?
The financing of energy access was also discussed. It now seems ready for a decarbonization transition with renewable energy in place. If Africa gets on board, this could represent more than 80% of new electricity production capacity by 2030.
Et je pense que l'Afrique et les pays africains et les
I think that Africa and governments must seize this carbon credit opportunity. The African market is the maker here to these carbon credits.
Donc il faut que les États sachent et tout qu'il existe.
Remember, we can take a lot of this report with a grain of salt, especially as it relates to the Sahel area, which is Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, Guinea, because they've told them to kick rocks. They've withdrawn from the EU. They've withdrawn from the United Nations. They want nothing to do with ECOWAS. They're like, we are our own bloc now. We will have sovereignty. Damn it. And we will provide our own damn security. We will do that. So some of this is a little antiquated, but let's hear it out.
Cette poche de liquidité.
States must know that this liquidity exists.
Véritablement un seul élément, c'est ce sujet du marché carbone.
The question that now remains is, should we move to a central bank digital currency? And
why is he speaking? Why? Why do we need this white demon up there speaking to African people? For what? For what? For what?
Véritablement un seul élément, c'est ce sujet du marché carbone.
The question that now remains is, should we move to a central bank digital currency and cryptocurrency? Stakeholders see it as a tool to improve financial services, but call for the formalization of clear regulations.
That's the other thing that you have with Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. They're starting their own currency backed by gold. You understand? And the more African nations that do this, they will crush the white West, whether it's the UK, if it's Britain, if it's France, if it's the United States, any of these white countries, they will be crushed. I tell you, crushed. That's why they had to get rid of Muammar Gaddafi, because he had started getting the African nations to come together to form a new currency known as the dinar. And they actually have gold and resources to back up their currency. America doesn't have that. They just go, here's our dollar. It's worth something because we say so. And if you don't agree to that, we have a military. That's economics 101. That's exactly how it works. Do you understand? America's currency is not backed up by anything other than bluff and bullying. That's all they do. Where there are nations who actually have resources to back up their own currency. I pray Allah allows me to live to the day where I see they have been crushed and brought to their knees where they belong.
What we said on the panel was that it was important to create a legal regulatory framework that is transparent, that is very understandable by all, and that can allow for a much easier adoption. More than 600 leaders, bankers, insurers, regulators, central bank governors, public policy makers participated in this 2022 edition. The summit will again be held in 2023 for even a more ambitious third edition.
We leave Lome for Kenya to introduce you to renowned scouters from the village of Tabaka, the heydays of the small town were cut short by the coronavirus pandemic. Even though traders are slowly finding new happiness, they must now face two challenges.
Soapstone. I don't know if you've ever experienced soapstone, everybody, but you could, excuse me, I think you could probably even go to your local Bed Bath & Beyond and experience what soapstone is. It's really something.
A low number of tourist arrivals and the obligation to work with intermediaries.
These soapstone mines have made the village of Tabaka famous. Located 6 hours from the capital Nairobi, stone mining and carving employs hundreds of people here. Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom are among the main destinations for the end products.
See there? Hear that? Hear that? This is from Kenya.
Located 6 hours from the capital Nairobi, stone mining and carving employs hundreds of people here. Australia,
white.
Canada, and the
white. And the United States,
United Kingdom,
among
the main destinations for the
are amongst the main destinations
end products
for the end product. You see, instead of saying no, demon, We will have our soapstone here in Kenya. You want it? You come here, you pay through your ass, and we also want DNA sample from your mother. Otherwise, kick rocks. Oh, and by the way, we are inflating outrageously the price of any visa for you to come into the country. That should send you into bankruptcy. Just the visa alone should just send you into bankruptcy and financial spiral.
But since the coronavirus pandemic, tourists are scarce and revenues have plunged. We sell our products to people who then send them to Nairobi or abroad.
See, so he's low on the totem pole. He makes a little pittance, but then these other big once he gets to Canada and Australia and all that, then that's where all the big money starts. I brought you guys a video where there's brothers working in some cocoa mines or cocoa farms in oh, subhanallah. It's Cote d'Ivoire, because Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana are the kings of cocoa. But here these brothers were in Cote d'Ivoire working in these cocoa farms, and they had never tasted chocolate. There's a brother that went there and he got them to stop working for a while. He had some candy bars with him. He said, "This is what this becomes." And began to explain to them all the billions that are being made. And they looked at it, they were tasting it, it was foreign to them. But you could tell their reaction was just like, wait, this is some bullshit, really. Like, what are we doing? You feel me? It's so evil, everybody.
We're asking the authorities to intervene because the middlemen are exploiting us.
Because the middlemen are exploiting us. You see? This elephant or whatever that thing was right there at the beginning, that's at least a $15,000 piece, if not more. Remember, that's soapstone. It's been handcrafted, as is everything else behind it. That's at least a $15,000 piece. We just start the bidding at 15,000 US.
In Tabaka, this woman has operated this sculpture shop for more than 40 years. She says she has never seen visitor numbers this low. Before Corona struck, a number of foreign tourists would flock here because most of them knew me as Big Mama. Some of them would put me in touch with buyers from their home countries, after which I would transport the goods to Nairobi for shipment by air.
See?
The people here feel that the village could grow as a major mining and tourist town, but that would take support from the government to businesses and miners to happen.
It's an outrage.
That brings this episode of Business Africa to a close.
Okay, let's go to our next piece. I thought it would be good to add this piece. It's a short piece because it's the gold miners smashing gender stereotypes in Burkina Faso. The female gold miners breaking the mold.
Julien Pouventier.
And fighting prejudice in a male-dominated industry.
Vous avez fini le ravitaillement, là, tu me fais signe.
To my experience and studies, everybody, men respect women in Africa in a way that they want you to believe that it's like it is here. That, you know, let's say there's a good old boy network and here comes a woman on the job and now all the men have a problem. That's not my experience and understanding with African countries. If a woman is capable and able, then she's the one. That's it. You know, I mean, so we have to be very careful. Let's go on. When is this report from? This is from 4 years ago.
Quand vous avez fini le ravitaillement, là, tu me fais signe.
Managing the pit, detonations, and truck driving.
Le travail de la mine a changé
Work at the mine has changed everything in my life. Everything.
tout dans ma vie. Tout.
Tine Konate is a single mother. And without her job driving a 79-ton lorry, she wouldn't be able to feed her family.
Premier jour,
the first day, really, I was scared. The first day, just getting into...
Moi, j'ai eu peur. Premier jour même de rentrer dans le dumper, j'ai eu peur. Bon, après, au fur et à mesure, avec le temps...
The dump truck, I was scared. But little by little, with time, I saw that it's just a machine like any other. That's how it went. That's all. It's no different than, you know, a woman driving a big rig here, which I love to see, by the way. I think that's just so sexy when I see a big ass 18-wheeler and it's a woman driving it. That's just hot to me some type of way. So, but this is no different. So, you know, I'm a dude. I never drove an 18-wheeler. It would be intimidating to me. I would have to get used to it. You feel me? So let's put things in perspective.
Le fait de voir c'est un métier.
The fact that it is a man's job and that I can do it, really, I like that very, very much.
D'homme et que je peux le faire, vraiment, ça me plaît beaucoup, beaucoup.
Mining has lagged behind other industries. Of course, mining has lagged because, again, when it comes to mining, that means resources, that means wealth. And this demon wants control all over it. And when it lags, it's because they're not getting their way or because they can't get the leader in the country to do what they want or something like this. Otherwise, everything's just booming and ticking right along. You feel me? In introducing women to the field, but this is slowly changing. This company hopes women will account for 20 to 30% of their total workforce in the near future. And no doubt it will. You know, you don't have that nonsense where men are trying to sabotage the women because they don't belong here and this and the third, you know. And there's just some jobs that women will not take just because of cultural norms in different African countries. There's certain things that women don't do, and there's certain things that men just don't do. You just don't do that. You see? But they want you to think that everything is predicated on this American model, and nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing. Now, this is from a year ago. Burkina Faso miners say work continues despite the coup. All right? So, we're interested to know now is this the coup that was staged by Captain Ibrahim Traore and the military to take over the country and get rid of this white devil and their puppets? That's what we want to know. Let's go.
The biggest mining company in Burkina Faso said on Monday...
It's already an English bitch telling us, so we already doubtful. But let's go on.
The biggest mining company in Burkina Faso said on Monday that its operations are unaffected by recent political events, following the West African country's second military coup of the year. Endeavour Mining's London-listed shares fell 1.6% in early trading after Friday's ouster of President Paul-Henri Damiba. The company, which has 4 gold mines and 2 exploration projects in Burkina Faso, said it was monitoring the situation and would provide further updates if appropriate. Endeavour also has mines in Senegal and Ivory Coast, but analysts...
And I've done a piece on them. Even they had changed their name at one point because they are evildoers. This Endeavour, or whatever they call themselves now.
Endeavour also has mines in Senegal and Ivory Coast, but analysts said Burkina Faso accounts for 54% of its expected 2022 production. Another mining company in Burkina Faso, West African Resources, said its Sanbrado gold mine was operating normally. Staff and contractors are safe, it said, and the communities around Sanbrado remained calm. Its shares fell 10% to hit a 1-year low.
But that's because they threw France the fuck out and said kick rocks. Do you understand? Now this one is just from like less than a day ago. It's like 9 hours. But Burkina Bay miners take back 2 gold mining facilities from foreign companies in Burkina Faso. Allahu Akbar.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Intervlog. I say this is Intervlog, and I am here once more.
Yeah, this is a channel called Intervlog. I don't know if this is AI generated because his voice is always like that. Whatever. But it's called Intervlog, just to give them their credit.
I'm here because there is one important information that I brought to you today, and this information is amazing. I say it is amazing because this is the first time something like this is happening in Africa. We have never seen anything like this in Africa. And I say, may glory be to God for what is happening to continue.
Amen.
Because what is happening in Burkina Faso is needed in all African countries. And you would ask me, what is that? Well, Ibrahim Traore has refunded money to 2 international mining companies in Burkina Faso. And this is the first time African country has refunded money to international miners or international companies. And his reason is that Burkina Faso is now capable of mining on their own.
In other words, here go your little money you had gave us. We don't really need it because we could do our own shit. So here go your little refund piece. We don't really need you. Bye-bye.
Traore has refunded money to 2 international mining companies in Burkina Faso. And this is the first time African country has refunded money to international miners or international companies. And his reason is that Burkina Faso is now capable of mining on their own. And the companies were happy about the settlement. These companies are Lilium Company and Endeavour Mining Company.
Endeavour. There's that name again. The evildoers.
The 2 of them have been mining in Burkina Faso for quite long.
Yeah,
but they
for some decades.
Are at the 2 sites which they have that had a problem. And that problem is between the 2 of them. Nothing concerns Burkina Faso government in the problem. Based on the information that reached us is that the Endeavour owe Lilium a certain amount of money, and there had been a case there. But Ibrahim Traore had gone there and told them that he is going to settle them all the money they paid and let everything end there because the Burkina Faso is going to take over.
Thank you.
And he settled both companies. Burkina Faso is mining right now in the 2 sites, which is situated at Bongo and Why Not in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has struck a deal to nationalize 2 gold mines for about $80 million that London-listed Endeavour Mining agreed.
Nationalize. That means for the entire country. You understand? Not just for your company, your family. In fact, this is what what was his name? Hugo Chavez of Venezuela. He had nationalized the resources of the oil reserves. You see, now they want you to believe that Venezuela is this sort of wasteland of poverty and all the bullshit. And it is, because they didn't want him nationalizing that, because that raises the people. Did you know that in Alaska, the citizens of Alaska get a check as a kickback on the sale of the natural resource of their oil in Alaska? Did you know that? Go and research that and know that the Jedi has spoken the truth. You see? So when we hear nationalizing, this is perfect.
Which is situated at Bongo and Huayna in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has struck a deal to nationalize 2 gold mines for about $80 million that London-listed Endeavour Mining agreed last year to sell to Lilium Mining. Lilium will transfer ownership of Bongo and Waknion to the West African state, which will pay Endeavour $60 million in cash, the FTSE 100 company said in a statement on Tuesday. Burkina Faso will also pay a 3% royalty on up to 400,000 ounces of gold sold from Wagnion, the statement said, a provision that analysts estimated was worth $20 million. The settlement follows controversy around governance at Endeavour in the wake of former chief executive Sebastien de Montessus being sacked at the start of this year for serious misconduct.
Why wouldn't he be guilty of misconduct? Look who he is. Of course there's misconduct. Of course.
As part of Tuesday's deal, the 2 companies will drop legal cases against each other. Endeavour launched arbitration in March against Lilium for missing payments, which then lodged a counterclaim a month later that alleged information was concealed and misrepresented about finances and operations at the 2 mines. Endeavour said, both parties would like to thank the government of Burkina Faso for its mediation efforts. Lilium Mining, a subsidiary of Lilium Capital, an investment vehicle founded by U.S. Burkinabe businessperson Simon.
But that also tells you how much wealth they have in Burkina Faso. It's like y'all 2 white devils want to fight over the resource. Here, we'll pay y'all off and you kick rocks. We will now do our own thing. Bye-bye.
Tim Torre declined to comment.
Wait.
Parties would like to thank the government of Burkina Faso for its mediation efforts. Lilium Mining, a subsidiary of Lilium Capital, an investment vehicle founded by U.S. Burkinabe businessperson Simon Tim Torre, declined to comment. Burkina Faso did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The nationalization of the mines by Ouagadougou is the latest in a wave of African governments attempting to exert greater control over their natural resources as military regimes come to power.
Yes.
In June, the military that seized power in Niger last year stripped French state-owned giant Orano of its mining license at the Imuraren mine, one of the world's largest.
Allahu Akbar. Stripped this French company of their mining rights.
Largest uranium mines in the country's north.
Just a second.
In June, the military that seized power in Niger last year stripped French state-owned
Niger, by the way,
giant Orano of its mining license at the Imuraren mine, one of the world's largest uranium mines in the country's north. Burkina Faso Mali, and Niger have been racked by a widening Islamist insurgency for more than a decade and created security threats to mining operations. The three countries have been at loggerheads with former colonial power France, the wider Western community of nations.
Look, here's the Macron hook-nosed bastard. The sight of him. I'm thinking I just lost my retina. I just lost my retina. I just lost my retina.
The three countries have been at loggerheads with former colonial power France, the wider Western community of nations, and other countries from the regional economic community of West African states, ECOWAS, and have forged closer ties with Russia instead. Burkina Faso revised its mining code last year to earn more royalties from mining companies following declining gold output as the long-running security crisis forced at least 5 mines to shut down. Endeavour Mining is a gold producer that grew rapidly through a series of mine purchases and sales to become one of the London market's blue-chip stocks, with a portfolio of 5 producing mines across Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, and Senegal. De Montessus was fired for an irregular payment instruction made in connection with the sale of the Agbao mine in Ivory Coast. A subsequent probe unearthed 2 more deliberately disguised payments of $15 million to an unnamed third party. In Endeavour's annual report released in March,
just stealing. Born thieves.
Financial value of the Bungu and Wagnion mines at the close of the Lilium deal was estimated to be $285 million, but only $34 million had been received from Lilium as part of the transaction. Analysts said that the resolution was a boost for Endeavour, given that no further proceeds were expected to be recouped anytime soon. After listening to this news, I began to praise Ibrahim Traoré, because this is the first time an African leader has put hand into his pocket to pay international companies back the amount they spent. It never happened before.
Right.
And why did Ibrahim Traoré did that? It is because he knew the profit that Burkina Faso would be making. Burkina Faso will mine the good and sell the good themselves. No more an outsider. This is a great achievement.
Yes.
And you would ask me, why is it that other African countries are not doing this? They are not doing it because the president don't care. If you go to other African countries, all their president care is how to squander money.
That would be your entire ECOWAS, which was yet another death nail in the coffin of who I thought was going to be my president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo of Ghana. But there he was, standing up there with his fat ass. I mean, it's just, these people are just crooked. And don't get me started on Tinubu in Nigeria. His old ass just needs to die off. His background is sketchy. There's been investigations about him lying about where he's from. That he went to school here in America. I mean, there's a lot of scandal surrounding this fish-eyed fool, and so he just needs to go away or die off. Like, I'm over it. But he's one of the evildoers too. You know, there's never a shortage of Negroes to help this demon oppress us as a people and rip us off.
This is a great achievement. And you would ask me, why is it that other African countries are not doing this? They are not doing it because the president don't care. If you go to other African countries, all their president care is how to squander money.
Right.
When they win an election, they will be celebrating. Their celebration is because of the type of life they are going to live.
Right.
They will go and buy best cars.
Usually Toyotas. Maybe a couple of BMWs, but definitely it's something about Toyota. They just simply must have it. Oh my God.
Money. When they win an election, they will be celebrating. Their celebration is because of the type of life they are going to live. They will go and buy best cars, best houses. Sometimes they don't even buy for themselves alone. Many African presidents have approved for 500 pieces of Toyota Land Cruisers.
There they go.
The SUV. Some have approved for 100 pieces of Toyota. Land Cruisers SUVs, and share these Toyota Land Cruisers to all his political friends. Share the Toyota Land Cruisers with governors, senators, local government chairmen.
They are into those damn Toyota Land Cruisers. I do not know why.
Lawmakers. They do not care about good governance. And the reason Ibrahim Traoré is doing what he is doing is because he cares for his country. And that is the reason he refused to approve Toyota Land Cruiser for any government officials in Burkina Faso.
Amen. Allahu Akbar.
He even refused to approve the Toyota Land Cruiser SUV for himself.
Amen.
He said, nobody is going to enjoy better than anybody in Burkina Faso.
You see, that's right up there with the proclamation of Muammar Gaddafi. Because remember, when he came to power in Libya, Libya was a desert patch, dude. He engineered and brought in the water that they were able to bring into the country of Libya, which had such a huge effect on their growth and their economy. But he proclaimed that no one in his family, not even his parents, would have a home until every Libyan had a home. Before sniper fire and her Benghazi bullshit with Obama, Libya was one of the most glorious countries you would ever want to visit and live in. Know this to be the truth, my people. Know it. Know it. But here you have Ibrahim Traoré saying, no, we're not taking no Toyotas. I don't want no damn Land Cruiser. Nobody's going to be better than the other one. We're going to grow together is what we're going to do.
Local government.
He even stopped the import of tomato paste and tomato products. He was like, we have tomatoes. Let's grow our own tomatoes and let us manufacture our own tomatoes. So they make all tomato products now from their own tomatoes. They make tomato paste, tomato sauce, tomato, anything you want to say tomato, they make it now in Burkina Faso. This is thousands of jobs for people. Not to mention what it does for their agriculture sector, man. This is the type of brother I just want to kiss his feet and proclaim Allahu Akbar. We need more of this, because the more of these brothers like this that rise, we will crush this demon and bring them to their knees where they belong.
And chairmen and lawmakers. They do not care about good governance. And the reason Ibrahim Traoré is doing what he is doing is because he cares for his country. And that is the reason he refused to approve Toyota Land Cruiser for any government officials in Burkina Faso. He even refused to approve the Toyota Land Cruiser SUV for himself. He said, nobody is going to enjoy better than anybody in Burkina Faso.
Allahu Akbar.
Right now, he is retaking mining sites from international company and refunding them their money back. This is how a president is supposed to be, and how a president is supposed to work as well. This type of president is the type Africa needs.
That is our brother. That is our brother. And what he's wearing there, that's all he wear. That's all he wear. I don't care what the occasion. When he went in to meet, I showed you the video where he went in to meet with Putin and Putin's crew, and his people came in so impressive. His soldiers came in, they lined the room on the side of the table where he was supposed to sit. Then when he entered, the brother pulled his chair out, and then after the captain had stood in front of his chair and sat down, then they sat down. All in military gear. He always carries his weapon with him, and you hear Putin say, wow, they look like a military group. You know, that is a serious brother. And let us also note, he happens to be a Muslim. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you very much for watching. This is Intervlog.
All right, I think we have one more, everybody. One more, because I think it was our most lengthiest, and I don't think we need it all. I don't think we need it all. We're going to get into it and see. All right, and then we'll be over it. I'm trying to keep this as short as I can, but I never waste time in my videos, as you know. Every frame is of value to you, so I never waste time. This is from 7 years ago. We don't need it all. It says exposing the inhumane conditions of Burkina Faso's gold mines. Like, look how they're treating the people. Oh, it's not us multinational companies coming in and raping the fuck out of the country. No, no. It's this inhumane treatment of these workers that we just care so much about. I'm over it. We only need a few minutes. This is from, who's this from? This is from Journeyman Pictures. All right. We'll just use just a little bit of this to make our point, and we'll be over it, because what I want to end on is a piece that's kind of not really connected to what we've covered, but it kind of is, because I've said to you that Asians, Latinos, people from India, other cultures, like, they are obsessed with being white. And I have a piece where this girl is saying this and giving us the deets. And I thought that'd be the perfect place to end. You have to see that. So let us just see a little bit of this, of how they propagandize. Again, it's all around the gold mines. Notice everything's been around a mine. Nobody gives a fuck about how somebody's living or their roof leaks and they can't make it through the rain season. We've seen nothing but what's happening at mines. You see? Oh, they just care so much, everybody. Oh, the bleeding heart of this white devil just touches me in a way that I'm just not able to articulate. Quick, somebody bring me tissue. Gold dust. And you see they open with, you see how it looks just very like you wouldn't want to be there.
This is the Fanjora gold mine in the southwest of Burkina Faso.
Look.
On these 40 hectares, thousands of miners are risking their lives in order to find a few grams of hope.
In order to find a few grams of hope, since the multinational companies are taking all the shit out of there in bulk and they just trying to get a dime.
Marcel is one of them.
I go to my hole and I come back quickly.
He chases the gold that will get him out of his misery.
This struck me. They say that gold is a very precious metal. We're back to the brothers I told you where he went to show them what their cocoa becomes. So he doesn't even know that it's a precious metal. Look at the statement. They say that gold is a very precious metal. Like he says, as if this is something that he found out. That makes me sad. And that many French people are looking for it. They say it's very expensive over there. But they don't know how it is produced, nor how it is extracted. And when I showed you Her Excellency Arikana Chihambori Kwan, she talked briefly about the cocoa and how everything's known, Swiss chocolate, Swiss this, Swiss chocolate this, Swiss chocolate that. She said, show me 1 acre of cocoa in Switzerland. Show me. Show me. Like they don't even grow it there. They don't have it. So they don't know how it's produced nor how it is extracted. All I know is that they rob us here. It's not okay. There are no hospitals, no schools. And you see this brother works hard. Look at these feet. That's the feet of a man that is busting his ass for his family and his village. Don't give me manicured nails and, oh my God, my feet are so big. That's the feet of a man. Do you understand? Much respect. They treat the miners like an animal, like a savage soldier.
In just 4 years, Burkina Faso has become the 4th biggest gold producer in Africa.
In just 4 years, the 4th biggest gold producer. You see, this is why it's so important what Ibrahim Traore has done. Because we don't just produce, we get rich off of it. We have it. We're no longer just giving it over to this white devil and their white companies. No, no. No, no. No, no.
600 mines are active, both industrial and traditional. The former president, Blaise Compaoré, let
the former president, who they snatched up out of there,
gold rush get out of control.
Let the gold rush get out of control because he didn't care. As long as he was wealthy, he didn't give a damn. And he couldn't wait to be hugged up with Macron. I just lost another tooth, oh my God.
A gold rush that has helped the country's development. Today, more than 1 million people are digging for gold. However, these people are still facing poverty.
Right. Because it's back to sharecropping. They just give you pittance, you see. But Ibrahim is changing all of that. He's increasing the value of their natural resources, and these people are going to benefit from the natural resources of their country. So that, yes, they can realize the most beautiful hospitals and schools and homes and roads and jobs and all these things. SubhanAllah, I keep him in my prayers, man. I'm always asking Allah to keep him protected. To keep him protected. And to let him see the mission through. This is our prayer. Ameen.
This West African country, with its 18 million inhabitants, remains one of the poorest countries in the world.
One of the poorest countries in the world, yet we've already talked about how many billions of dollars come out of just their gold alone. Before we even get to the uranium, before we even get to diamonds, before we get to all the other stuff. And then they show you this little stinker sleeping on the ground. And it's just all so sad. And I don't know if I could go on because I'm just all broken up now. One of the poorest nations on earth. They love to say that shit. I remind my African brothers and sisters on the continent, I don't care which country you live in, you do not live in a poor country. You live in a country that is exploited. And that is what you must change. There are no poor countries on the continent of Africa. Allah has given you everything. All of it, including perfect weather.
For the past 9 years, Marcel has had the same daily routine, digging frantically in the soil of Fanjura.
Okay, so we kind of know what this is going to be. It's a sob story, and oh my God, they can barely make it and they can't go on. What's this? I feel like we saw him in another piece. Well, maybe it's to do with the climate and sleeping. I guess he's at a doctor somewhere being seen. Again, it's the sad sob story, and nobody can go on, and they're gonna give us the terrorist story, and don't forget to show the baby with the bloated belly standing in
Entire
water.
villages depend on it for drinking, washing, and fishing. The polluted water is gradually suffocating the fish.
You see, this is the typical story. We've seen this with a British white devil narrating over the top of it to tell you how bad Africa is. But it also has another effect so that you don't want to go and ever live in Africa. You think that all of Africa is this, and it is not. You're missing out on the spot, homie. Oh my God, let's just go to the Indian chick. We already know what this is going to be about. We've seen this movie, and we're just sick and tired of it. This is from a year ago. Why Indians fought to be white in America. This is NYTN. I guess she'll explain what that means. If you'd like to go and visit and support her channel.
Supreme Court has been.
Let's go back.
The Supreme Court said you can be Aryan, you can be Caucasian, but that doesn't.
Let's make sure we start at the very beginning.
The Supreme Court said you can be Aryan.
Hold up, you guys. I need to move this microphone.
The Supreme Court said you can be Aryan, you can be Caucasian, but that doesn't mean you are white. There's just been an idea of people not wanting to be black. And we look at the updated requirements for US citizenship in 1870. Being from Africa was okay. Of African descent was okay. Being white was okay. But if you were somewhere in between and you didn't fit neatly into this box or this box, you were out of luck. Because he didn't try to fight for equality. What he actually tried to do was kind of sneak him through the back door. Hi, I'm Danielle Romero. Thank you so much for being with me again today on my channel, where I am in the middle of a series about how different groups were able to get citizenship in the United States. And almost all of that has pivoted on the term free white persons. And I want to talk today about the experience of Indian Americans naturalizing in the United States. Now, when I say Indian, I don't mean Native American, but really people from India of South Asian descent. Now, the US Supreme Court has been brought in on these issues so many times, deciding not only who can become a citizen, but first, who is white. The US Supreme Court said that you can be Aryan and Caucasian and still not be white.
Now, this brings us to Kamala Harris. Because remember, she's been up there talking about how her mother came here when she was, her mother moved to America when her mother was 19. So according to this information, her mother must have declared herself white. We just like to see Kamala's birth certificate and her state ID if we could. Maybe we could just see the passport. We'll just need a few minutes if you don't mind. We'd just like to have those documents if you just don't mind. You see. How did she identify at Howard? Huh? Like to see those class records. We just like to see it.
And not have the right to become a US citizen. Now, when I hear the term Aryan or Caucasian, it's in the schema connects that to white, right? And it was just so shocking to me to see these being separated from each other. So 100 years ago, in 1923, there was an extraordinary man named Bhagat Singh Thind who found himself at the center of a legal battle that would challenge the very notion of race and citizenship here in the United States.
I was deemed Aryan and Caucasian, but not white, and was not permitted to become a US citizen.
But before we get into the court case, I want to tell you a little bit about the man himself. A remarkable figure in Indian American history, was an esteemed writer and lecturer on spirituality. He was actually Sikh. So his connection with the United States began when he enlisted in the army shortly before the conclusion of World War I. And after the war, he sought to become a naturalized citizen, capitalizing on this legal precedent that had granted Caucasians access to such rights. Now, if you have watched my video about the 5 skull types, if not, I'll link to it in the description. But there are these 5 skull types that people were kind of using as understanding about race. And one of them was Caucasian, precedent that granted Caucasians access to such rights. Identifying himself as Aryan or Caucasian, he found himself at the center of a 1923 Supreme Court battle.
Now, I also have brought you, excuse me, the story of Dr. Mustafa Hefni. Dr. Mustafa Hefni. He is a black African Egyptian Muslim. He has been in this country for decades through several administrations. They will not allow him to declare himself a black man. He's lost jobs at university. He's been threatened. Why don't you let it go? Life could be easier for you, etc., etc. This is how entrenched the evil of this natural-born demon is. Natural-born demon. Natural-born demon. Learn it. Let's go on.
People were kind of using as understanding about race. And one of them was Caucasian, precedent that granted Caucasians access to such rights. Identifying himself as Aryan or Caucasian, he found himself at the center of a 1923 Supreme Court battle. The United States versus Bhagat Singh Thind. Now, at the time, as with these other court cases, there was this battle of this understanding of who is a free white person. Now, the founding fathers used this phrase that a free white person of good character was eligible to become a U.S. citizen. But
by the way, remember, there were no founding fathers, everybody. That's another thing you need to throw out of the trash bin of your lexicon that's been infected by this devil. There are no founding fathers. This puts them on sort of a pedestal of deity and shit. They were just a bunch of rich, well, some of them I presume, but slave owner, scheming white devils. There is no founding father. You understand? And any founding father is definitely not one of our fathers. So let's just be very clear. Of this founding fathers, just don't use it. Just don't even use. Throw that out. Throw it into traffic. You don't need it. Throw it out. Throw it out.
Person of good character was eligible to become a U.S. citizen. But then 100 years later, in 1870, after the Emancipation Proclamation, something else was added to that. So you could either be a free white person, or you could be a person of African descent or an alien of African nativity. So that's right. You had to be either white or African to be a citizen. And he decided to argue that because he was Caucasian, he was white. Now, this court case is absolutely fascinating to me because up until this point, there's just been idea of people not wanting to be Black. But all of that goes out the window when we look at the updated requirements for U.S. citizenship in 1870. But if you were somewhere in between and you didn't fit neatly into this box or this box, you were out of luck. The Supreme Court unanimously rejected Finn's argument, stating that he did not meet the, quote, common sense definition of white. In the ruling, the Supreme Court concluded that Finn's assertion of being Aryan or Caucasian based on linguistic similarities did not make him eligible for citizenship. That means the Supreme Court said you can be Aryan, you can be Caucasian, but that doesn't mean you are white. They firmly held that the term Aryan was unrelated to physical characteristics, so I'm not really sure what it would be related to, and that Finn's resemblance in language alone was insufficient to establish a common
Well,
racial
I do
origin.
know. She doesn't know the Aryan thing. The Aryan thing is sort of the purity. You know, you've heard about the Aryans. They are the ones who, according to them, have absolutely nothing but white Neanderthal blood. That's it. They're not mixed with nothing. They're just pure ass pink pig people. That's it. It's a different category. The Aryans, you see. So, no slight to her, but I just wanted to make that clarification. Let's go on.
Concluded that Finn's assertion of being Aryan or Caucasian based on linguistic similarities did not make him eligible for citizenship. That means the Supreme Court said you can be Aryan, you can be Caucasian, but that doesn't mean you are white. They firmly held that the term...
And there is no white. This desk behind her is white. The wall is white. There are no white people, everybody. There are only pig-colored people who have the exact same skin color as a pig. That's just what your eyes know to be the truth. Period. There are no white people. And when you see them, they look like Michael Jackson because they've had to depigment their skin because the disease was so ravaging that they just had to just depigment. If you saw Michael Jackson, he was white as a sheet of paper. Literally. Even Oprah tells the story of when she did the interview with him back years ago. She said one of the things that people don't talk about, this was after his death, she said one of the things that people don't talk about is that his hands were like translucent. You literally could see through his skin. The veins and everything, you could see through you could see through him. Go and watch that interview. Go and watch her talking about her thoughts on Michael's passing. Very interesting. Very interesting. So there are no white people.
Right. They firmly held that the term Aryan was unrelated to physical characteristics, so I'm not really sure what it would be related to, and that Finn's resemblance in language alone was insufficient to establish a common racial origin. His culture was too different to give him the designation as white. Now, remember though, if you were of African heritage or African nativity, you could become a citizen. Now, this decision had far-reaching consequences, as you can imagine, leading to the denaturalization. That's right, they took away citizenship from about 50 Asian Indian Americans who had...
And you see, even this beautiful Indian woman here on the left, their women are just very beautiful. But again, they are obsessed. They are one of the many cultures that are obsessed with skin bleaching. Go do your own research, and maybe I'll do a separate piece on just cultures that are obsessed with skin bleaching and where the most skin bleaching cream on earth is sold and used and which populations are doing it. You see, this is one of the reasons why they come here and they don't want to associate with us. You feel me? Like everybody love black culture, you feel me, and love our swag, but nope, don't call me black. Nope, 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 nope. And they always side with the pig people. Let's go on.
Now, this decision had far reaching consequences, as you can imagine, leading to the denaturalization. That's right, they took away citizenship from about 50 Asian Indian Americans who had earlier successfully applied and received U.S. citizenship. It was a deeply unsettling moment where scientific racial categories were clashing with societal perceptions and legal interpretations. I want to share a quote from the opinion of the Supreme Court written by Justice Sutherland from the Library of Congress. He said, "The words of familiar speech, which were used by the original framers of the law, were intended to include only the type of man they knew as white. The immigration of that day was almost exclusively from the British Isles and northwestern Europe, whence they and their forebears had come. When they extended the privilege of American citizenship to, quote, any alien being a free white person, it was these immigrants, bone of their bone and flesh of their flesh, and their kind, whom they must have had affirmatively in mind. It is a matter of familiar observation and knowledge that the physical group characteristics of the Hindus render them readily distinguishable from various groups of persons in this country commonly recognized as white." I just want to pause there and just reiterate the fact that you needed to be a free white person of good character or someone from African heritage. But think about that in the terms of what he's describing here. The children of English, French, German, Italian, Scandinavian, and other European parentage quickly merge into the mass of our population and lose the distinctive hallmarks of their European origin. On the other hand, it cannot be doubted that the children born in this country of Hindu parents would retain indefinitely the clear evidence of their ancestry. The 1923 Literary Digest article was called "Hindus Too Brunette to Vote Here," which is available through the South Asian American Digital Archive. Now, to understand this ruling, we have to delve into the reasoning provided by the court. The court.
By the way, random note: Hindus are some of they're some of the kindest, wisest people that you would want to get to know if you can get close to any of them, to gain their audience and thereby their trust. They are a very warm people of depth and culture and tradition and knowledge, and they hold secrets and knowledge of existence and history and things like that that are very, very alluring to somebody like myself. I'm obsessed with things like that. I always want to know, how are other people experiencing existence? What does it feel like for them just to be and to exist? I love that. And Hindus are really, really something. Really something.
South Asian American Digital Archive. Now, to understand this ruling, we have to delve into the reasoning provided by the court. The court justified its decision by stating the words that "free white person," which were from. Now, the court believed that the original framers of the law had intended only one type of person to be white: people from the British Isles and northwestern Europe. Finn had such an interesting perspective during this legal case because he didn't try to fight for equality. What he actually tried to do was kind of sneak him through the back door. And he pointed out that he was a, quote, high caste Hindu, and stating that because he came from North India, the, quote, original home of the Aryan conquerors, then he must also belong to the Caucasian or Aryan race. Now, if you know anything about the caste system in India, it's pretty horrifying. He was trying to use this to his advantage to say, hey, we're not a monolithic group. There are levels and designations to people from India, and I'm at the top. And I'm of the same heritage as so many of these other groups who are allowed to be white. Now, as a result of this decision, the path to American citizenship for individuals of Indian ancestry was just abruptly closed. Like I said, people were losing their citizenship, and now it's just over. Finn's own lawyer, Sakaram Ganesh, actually faced denaturalization himself during this court case. Now, the repercussion of these revoked naturalized statuses were enormous. So I want you to imagine that you've gotten citizenship in a country and all the rights thereof. Now it's gone. What rights do you have? Well, for instance, certain Asian Indian landowners in California suddenly found themselves subject.
But ironically and suspiciously, this just didn't happen to the Jews, huh? Wonder why? Oh, 'cause they're white. There I go. Being any, use your eyes, damn it, Jedi. Stop trying to be brilliant. I'm over it.
Subjected to the California Alien Land Law.
Let me go back to the beginning of that segment since I was jacking.
Now, the repercussion of these revoked naturalized statuses were enormous. So I want you to imagine that you've gotten citizenship in a country and all the rights thereof. Now it's gone. What rights do you have? Well, for instance, certain Asian Indian landowners in California suddenly found themselves subjected to the California Alien Land Law of 1913. Attorney General Ulysses S. Webb, who is a strong advocate for the Asiatic Exclusion League, you heard that right, actively worked to invalidate land purchases made by these people, promising to prevent Indians from acquiring or leasing land.
Just like they did to us.
With mounting pressure and the Immigration Act of 1917 preventing new immigration from coming in, which could have supported the Indian American community, you know, the more people coming in, kind of a louder voice, many Indians chose to leave the country. As a result, by 1940, only half of the original Indian population remained in America, about 2,400. It wasn't until 1935, so it's more than a decade later, when the Nye Lee Act was passed, granting World War I veterans eligibility for naturalization regardless of race. And at this point, Finn made another petition for naturalization. This was his third one. And finally, based on his status as a U.S. military veteran, he was granted United States citizenship nearly 20 years after his initial application.
Wow.
As World War II unfolded and public support for Asian Indians grew, along with the impending independence of India, the Indian community activated for an end to legislative discrimination. The repeal of the Chinese exclusion laws in 1943 and the extension of naturalization privileges to the Chinese community provided hope for similar progress among Asian Indians. Now, despite opposition from certain members of Congress and the American Federation of Labor, the Indian community gained support from influential congressmen and President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And ultimately, on July 2nd, 1946, President Truman signed the Luce Seller Act into law. This landmark legislation not only reversed the thin...
This is also the bastard that signed the Balfour Agreement and told these white people they could just have Palestine and screw the Palestinians that were there. We'll back you up. You can just go ahead. That would be your President Truman. Thank you very much. There's the pig-colored Damon.
President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And ultimately on July 2nd, 1946, President Truman signed the Luce Seller Act into law. This landmark legislation not only reversed the Finn decision, but also explicitly extended racial eligibility for naturalization to individuals from India, establishing a modest annual immigration quota of only 100 individuals. So they're saying, okay, well, you can come, but only this many of you can come. Now, the passage, though, of this act represented a significant milestone nonetheless in the fight against discrimination. I think one of the biggest takeaways for me in this story, honestly, is the fact that it wasn't just you have to be white to be a citizen, because you could be white or African, but not anything in between. And I think this just goes to show how dangerous these binary groupings are. People have kind of commented on these videos, why are you only going after white as being something silly? Why aren't you going after black as something silly? Now, again, I know people use these terms to self-identify, and if that's how you identify, that's great. Like, use whatever terms you prefer. But when I'm stepping back and we're doing kind of the bird's eye view historically of this, to force people to say, I belong to this group or this group, And they're somewhere in between. I would love your thoughts on this because, again, we've been kind of breaking things into this idea of like who counts as white. Well, here we have this. It's like who counts as white or who counts as black, and anything in between is out of here. And the other thing is like this obviously is going beyond just skin color though, because
Oh, no, bitch, no, slow down. Because we know what qualifies as black. We're very clear as a people. And let us never accept any talk of ambiguity, everybody. That only is a conversation to be had by these mixed people who can't make a decision about who the fuck they are. That's their issue. That's their thing over there. We, as African people across the earth, we know exactly who the fuck we are. And we are in no conflict about the details of who we are.
I've had friends who have, origin from South Asia, and some of them are darker than people with African ancestry. So we can't just go and say, well, this is just colorism, because if it was just colorism, then they would not say people from African ancestry were okay to become citizens. Now, I know that it's directly tied to the Emancipation Proclamation and
exactly.
the enslavement.
That's the only reason why. It wasn't a benevolent act. They're here now, so... But it wasn't you were a citizen, it was you were a citizen unless and until they snatched you up and then put you in jail or charged you with a crime, and then you were a slave and a non-citizen again. That is why now, even in 2024, if you are sitting in jail with a felony, your black ass cannot vote and all of your rights are gone. So let's be very clear.
This is just colorism, because if it was just colorism, then they would not say people from African ancestry were okay to become citizens. Now, I know that it's directly tied to the Emancipation Proclamation and the enslaved people here in the United States, but it's just another part of this equation that we have to wrestle with. So if you are interested in watching any more videos like this, I'll leave the playlist here at the end. Let me know what you think. We'll talk soon.
So, what am I hearing? So I think that's a good place to end, and we'll explore this more, as I say, because there's a lot of, forget the citizenship part of it and all the other nonsense. You have a large population of other groups who are obsessed with skin bleaching. Obsessed. Like, even Latinos will tell you that they try to mate with, what am I hearing? I'm not crazy. I'm hearing something, y'all. Anyways, they will tell you, and I will try to bring you pieces of them expressing it themselves. They trying to whiten themselves up. That's why you meet so many white people and then you turn out they're like Latina. Like, really, bitch? How? You feel me? And I used to crack my dad up because there's this chick that's on the news here in California. I guess she's still on the news. But her name is Christina Gonzalez. I specifically say it that way because she's usually out in the field doing the report back to the desk. And when it's anything else, it's like, I'm Christina Gonzalez reporting for such and such and such. That's the end of it. But as soon as it's something to do with Latinos or whatever, I'm Cristina Gonzalez. And I used to kill my dad with that. I just buckle him over with that, because the moment I said it the first time, it was the truth. And it just knocked him over, And so you have a lot of them that are that, that are Latino, but you don't know it. listen, Allah has made us of many tribes and nations as he has proclaimed. So you should look like one of them damn tribes and nations. You feel me? And when you don't, it's because something else has been introduced, some evil, some pigskin evil has been injected and insinuated into your existence. You feel me? It's just like you go up to, like, somebody tell me, where did the blood orange come from? Is it a blood orange or a blood grapefruit? Something blood. It's very red, very, you know, there's all sorts of things in nature, but if we see something that we go, that's not how that grows, we're immediately suspicious of it. We go, well, that's not what that is. It's like as if you planted a rose bush and a few weeks later you come out and there's oranges growing. You go, well, what? What? Like thorns and all, but no roses to be seen anywhere. You would know this is some bullshit immediately. So we have to start using the intellect that Allah has given us. Start using the sensory perception, the whisper that Allah has given to all of us. When your gut tells you the truth has been spoken, it's when you start trying to dice it up and make it something that it's not, that you pollute and convolute your own ass. Watch the universe. Watch Allah's creation. As I've said to you 1,000,000,000 times, if I had $1 for this, I'd be on a private island in Provence finally. But alas, but I've said to you, what did I say? I just forgot the quote, and I say it all the time. Oh, Allahu Akbar, all knowledge is with Allah. Allah's creation is not for decoration, everybody. You move into a new house or an apartment, what do you start doing? Decorating. You're just decorating. Nothing wrong with that, but you're just decorating. It means nothing. You just want your place to look nice, and and this plant looks great over there. Ooh, and let's do some feng shui, and ooh, this chair looks great over there. Ooh, and I love the way the sun hits this plant when I move it next to the bookcase here, and that's decorating. Our Creator does not decorate. Everything that Allah has placed here for us to observe, to feel, to see, to smell, to taste, to touch is information. It is information. It is not here for decoration. Always remember that. If you are new to the Jedi, I ask for your subscription. Help us grow this channel into the behemoth that I know that it can be. Before the Pink Devil shut down my very first ever YouTube channel, we were over 5 million views on the channel. We were 23,000 subscribers. I'm still the same human being. I am still the Jedi. And so I invite you to join our family here. Perfect time to join because we don't have 1,000,000 videos. I think there might just be about 70 videos so far. So it'd be very easy for you to track and find out what the curriculum has been, and you won't be sort of lost in the classroom, so to speak. You know, you go to a channel, they've got 5,000 videos. Where do you begin? Where do you begin? So I invite you to get in on the ground level now and join our family. We have such a great thoughtful and inspired family of people who have always followed me since I've started my very first channel. I usually don't ask for subscription. Everyone who came when we got to 23,000 subscribers, anyone who knows me will tell you, never hear me saying, make sure you subscribe, make sure you subscribe, because I want people to come on their own. When you go and you seek and you find something on your own, it has more value to you. So while I ask for your subscription, I only ask you to subscribe if you have taken something from what I have presented to you, not only in this piece, but other pieces that are here on the channel. I want to be worthy, and I want you to be here because you're interested in the work that I'm doing. I love you all. The Jedi has spoken.